everyone.
I'm Rachel.
And I'm Susie.
And you're listening to the Gilmore Gab. This is the Gilmore Gab, episode 13.
Woohoo!
And we're going to talk about Lane's worst choice, which wasn't even her fault. The writers did her dirty. We're going to talk about Zack. Because I think, it's been a while since we recorded the Lane episode. We talked a little bit about Brian and we talked about Dave in the Lane episode because we wanted to really focus on Zack this episode because of his whole arc with her.
Which
so
makes no sense.
It really doesn't.
Like even as it was happening, I was like, what is going on?
Agree.
Like there's no foundation for any of this. And it just comes out of the blue and hits you in the face. And you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, like she all of a sudden thought she was getting, like she just suddenly got a crush on Zack out of nowhere. Like Dave's been gone for a while and nothing about Zack is appealing to Lane. He's gross.
Yeah.
Greasy hair.
Yep.
He's a player. He's always finding the chicks and then he's taking advantage of Lane, and that's when she realizes she has a crush on him.
It's when, like, isn't it like when one of his ladies is like, oh, I'm sorry, we didn't know.
Yeah, because what keeps happening is she's working at Luke's Diner. And Zack and Brian are coming in and taking advantage of the free French fries. But then Zack brings in two girls.
Yes.
And she gets mad, which at first I was like, justified. He's taking advantage of you for the benefit of his little groupies. But then it was like, oh, the girls were like, oh, we're so sorry. We didn't know you liked him. And she's like, I don't like him. And then she's like, maybe I do like him. No, girl, you don't like to be taken advantage of. You have fought your entire life to get out from under the thumb of your mother, to be your own person. And now your own bandmates are taking advantage of you. The only one who seems to have, well, Brian has a job and Gil. But like, he's a freeloading pile of poo. What do you mean you have a crush on him? Does he even shower?
And let's not forget that the very first time we ever see Zack, he's hitting on Lorelai.
Which, gross.
Yes. Lorelai also thought so.
But at the same time, too, it's like, because this is what Lane's like 17, 18 is what we're pushing, because it's like the Rory Yale years, too. So they're getting into that like young adult.
18. Yeah, she's like 18, 19.
And so like, but how old is Zack? If he feels comfortable hitting on Lorelai, who's in her mid to late 30s, is he just, well, he's gross. But like, how much older than Lane is he?
Yeah, because we don't know. I don't think we ever actually know how old Zack is.
Because he's at least old enough to drink when they meet, like legally.
Yeah.
Which, again, at a certain point, the size of the age gap isn't as big of a deal when you're an adult than it is when you're a kid. But still, if she's like 18, 19 and he's 21, 22, 23.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. It just, I always thought he was way older. Not like way, but 4 or 5 years older than her. And, he's immature. And he doesn't care about anyone but himself.
It's true.
And I don't get it. Why would Lane fall for a guy like that?
And also, like, we can also look at how when Gil auditions to be in the band, he is a phenomenal player because he's
a real rock star.
Because he actually is in real life. But like, even in the show, he had been in a band previously and he had some regrets with how that happened. And so he's wanting to play again. But like, he also has a family. And Zack is so disturbed by the fact that he has a family and is like, he's so old.
Well, that's because it's not the rock star life. Rock stars sleep around and have little groupies and don't settle down and get a job and have a family. He was also jealous, though, because Gil was a much better guitar player.
Yes, he was. And also, he was just a better human. I love Gil.
But also, like, truth about rock stars notwithstanding, like the classic, behavior that we associate with a rock star. In what universe did anyone look at Zack and go, yes, he's a rock star?
Yeah,
he couldn't sing very well, in my opinion. He couldn't write very good songs. I don't think he was that great of a player based on my limited musical knowledge. And overall, I think he just portrayed the image of like a young punk rock star, but wasn't actually talented.
Yeah.
Lane was the talent.
Yeah. Well, like, even Brian is talented, and Gil, obviously, because he's actually a rock star. But like, the least talented person in their band was their front man.
Because Dave left. Which begs the question, too. Dave started this band.
Yeah.
Lane joined Dave's band.
It's true.
So how did Dave, who we know was also older than Lane because he went off to college, which means Brian and Zack have to be closer to Dave's age than Lane's age.
Yes.
How did Dave, Regis, end up with Zack?
Maybe he put an ad out.
Maybe.
Because that's how they found Lane.
Yeah.
But it also sounded like they were from the same, because they're not from Stars Hollow.
Right.
And it sounded like they were from another town.
Which we never get a name of either, which is interesting. It's not often you see outsiders in Stars Hollow that don't have like a reason.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's all very weird. Also, Zack caused 99.999% of all the contention in the band.
Yes.
The band broke up because of Zack.
Yes.
Lane was upset because of Zack. Brian and Gil moved on to other things because of Zack. Zack was a baby.
I do know that they based the huge breakup, off of a real life, like that actually happened to a band on stage.
Yeah.
When the label was there. Like that actually happened in real life.
I mean, that doesn't surprise me.
I mean, right? And I can't remember what band it was. Someone will probably put it in the comments.
They will shame us endlessly for that.
Yes.
Look, we are Gilmore Girls fans. We are not rock band fans.
It's true.
So rock is not our area of expertise.
No. Which I feel like because we are here because we're Gilmore Girls fans. But I think the fact that even us who are not big rock star fans could tell that Zack was not great.
No.
As a rock person.
In general, he's not great if we're being completely honest.
It's true.
He treated Lane like a second class.
Yeah.
Even though she was in his band, she was very talented. It was like he looked at her and she wasn't tall and skinny and blonde. So it wasn't worth looking at her.
Yeah.
Until she said, I like you. Then all of a sudden he's like, oh, actually, I have a crush on you. I call BS. I'm sorry. That whole writing was terrible.
It was so cheap. It was such a cheap fill.
And this goes back to something I don't know if I said this on the podcast or if it was a conversation we had separately, but I really believe the entire series was intended to be kind of told from Rory's perspective and her retelling, because in A Year in the Life, she writes a whole book.
Right.
And we can just assume that the book is meant to be what the show was. And so I think that, like we talked about in Lane, where Rory was a bad friend, and the only time we learn anything about Lane is when it's relevant to Rory.
Yeah.
So like Rory didn't know she was a cheerleader. Well, because Rory would never expect that because Rory doesn't care. And I think that's the situation here, is we just don't get a lot of like Lane is worth paying attention to.
Yeah.
And so Zack just suddenly is attracted to her.
Right.
And I feel like if we blame Rory for that, it's because Rory's like, I don't care. We get so much in depth about Rory's relationship, but Lane, it's just a quick little note on the page. And suddenly Zack likes Lane. And now they're dating. Yeah. And now Zack is jealous that Brian writes a song for Lane.
Yeah. Which, like, that really annoyed me even more than like the stuff. It's like that, like, he won't write a song about Lane.
Because nothing rhymes with Lane, air quotes.
One of the most easily rhymed with word.
And he's right. And the worst part is because they're together at that point.
Yeah.
Or secretly dating or whatever they're doing.
It's right before they break up. Like the band breaks up and they break up.
And they're together. And he is writing songs with other girls' names in it.
Yes.
Lots and lots of songs. And can't write a song about Lane. And his excuse is nothing rhymes with Lane. And having been in a lot of toxic relationships with guys, not a lot, but been with really gross guys who just suck at life.
Yeah.
The way he said that, I could tell he was lying, and I could tell it was a deflection. Like, it gave me the ick so hard because he's just like, well, nothing rhymes with Lane. You are so full of it. You don't want to write a song about her because she is not a rock star girlfriend.
Yeah.
She doesn't have the appearance of a rock star girlfriend. And if you write that song about her and people know it's about her, they're going to look at you weird. And oh no, there goes your reputation.
Yeah.
Because you don't look at Lane as the rock star that she is.
I feel like he was trying to maintain this single, awesome rock star persona while still also dating Lane.
He was trying to have his cake and eat it too.
Yep.
And that's just not going to work. And then to completely like implode his band and his relationships, not just with Lane, but with Brian and Gil over the fact that Brian was like, well, I can write a song for Lane.
Yeah.
And Brian's was entirely innocent.
Yeah.
It wasn't like I have a crush on Lane. It was just like, I can write it. I like to write songs. I like Lane. She's cool.
Yeah.
And he loses his mind over that. Again, Brian would have been a better choice.
Yes, Brian would have been a much better choice. I do love and appreciate, though, after the fallout, and Zack is trying to get the band back together, and he goes to see Brian and Gil, who are performing together, and they both are like, not without Lane. Like, you got to get Lane back before we'll even consider it.
Which just further proves how little Zack respected her.
Yeah.
Because once Dave left, truthfully, the only reason that band stayed together was because Lane wanted to be in a band.
Yes.
And she was going to do whatever it took to keep a band together.
Yes.
And it didn't matter. It didn't matter.
Yeah.
And the fact that Zack didn't go to her first just shows how insecure and childish he is.
Yeah.
And he should have known that Brian and Gil were not about to have a band without the literal reason they have a band.
I mean, I think part of it was that he was scared because he knew he screwed up. So he screwed up worse with her than anyone else. And he was going to have to go and eat a lot of crow.
And he still, I don't feel like he ever really did.
I don't feel like he ever did either. And like the whole proposal like made me vomit a little bit.
I must have blocked it out because I truly don't remember how he proposed. I just remember that like the aftermath and like the sand and the crabs and the pregnancy and I clearly was such a terrible proposal.
Yes. So okay, no. So like he goes into Luke's to apologize and to try and get her back in the band, and then he ends up proposing to her right there. And then she says yes.
I do remember her getting like, wait, what? And that is a trope that is common in a lot of media that I absolutely despise. I have broken up with you. I am angry with you. I hate your guts.
Yeah.
But the minute you walk in with a ring or the promise of a wedding, all of that disappears.
Yeah.
And I'm suddenly head over heels for you. Like it minimized not only Lane, but it diminished women as a whole to simply just wanting a pretty big wedding and a pretty gown and to feel like a bride. And it was like, no, Lane is better than that.
Yeah.
And I don't think Lane would have done that if she had been treated the way she deserved to be treated. Yeah. The writers were like, nobody cares about Lane.
Yeah, we care about Lane.
We care about Lane.
She deserved so much better.
I would love a spinoff of Lane.
But like in an alternate universe where she didn't marry Zack?
And didn't know Rory. Yeah. Like all those TikToks of like the background characters that are like, oh, we're at Luke's. Oh, here come the Gilmores. We're not going to eat for like an hour.
Do they even pay when they come here?
Oh, I've seen them put money on the table a few times. But anyway.
It's true.
But yeah, like I hate when women get reduced to, I just want to be a bride.
Yeah.
Like the man could do the most heinous thing in the world and, oh, you're going to marry me? Then all is forgiven. Are you serious?
Oh, I hate it too. Well, and it's like, I also hate when like they have major problems, right? Major problems, major communication issues in their relationship. And then he walks in with a ring and suddenly everything's fine. Like, I hate it. And it's like, you have not worked through any of your problems.
But also, let's not forget, one, he couldn't handle when she decided to wear contacts. I made fun of her. Also, he is, despite being an adult, cannot understand budgeting, cannot understand being responsible. You're gonna marry this man and potentially have children before she ended up pregnant with a man who doesn't understand why you're telling him he can't just buy a bunch of Pop-Tarts because y'all are broke.
Yeah.
Because the only people in that house that had a job were Lane and Brian.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and also, like, when she saves all of their money from the tour, right, so that they can go, like, record and get good recording equipment, and then
he buys that whole, like, equipment set or whatever.
Yeah.
Ugh.
Yeah.
And she married that man and is surprised she ended up pregnant.
Yeah.
I was surprised. I couldn't believe they did that to her.
Yeah.
Not only did they give her a bad honeymoon / sex moment, but then they impregnate her with twins.
Yeah.
They basically just blew up Lane's entire life with that. And that makes me so mad.
Well, I saw like a TikTok that was talking about how Gilmore Girls approaches like intimate relationships and how they actually don't do a good job like at all.
No, they do not.
And they portray it in such a terrible light. And like, especially with Lane, because like her experience is so awful to begin with. And then to end up pregnant with twins, like she went from 0 to 120 without batting an eye. Well, they did that to her. She didn't do it herself. And then like I just remember watching it being like, why did they do this to Lane? Like she doesn't deserve all of this.
Because the entire story is from Rory's perspective. And in the end, we can all agree Rory didn't like Lane.
It's true. And also that also explains like because they romanticize her
cheating,
her infidelities. They make it seem like it's totally fine and normal.
And like that's the weird part too, is like right after the honeymoon, Lane is talking to Rory and she's like, I totally get it now. You guys don't have to pretend that sex is this great thing because it's awful. It's terrible. And Rory's the one that's be like, next time, try a bed. But also, I firmly believe there was no next time because shortly after that, Lane finds out she's pregnant and she's like, again, worst thing ever. I bet you she swore off sex for the rest of her life.
Probably. I mean, her mom told her to.
Yeah, I just, like Mrs. Kim's situation, I get. It was like an arranged marriage. It was just kind of a...
We assume. We actually don't know anything
that's
about
true.
Mr.
We
Kim.
did talk about that. But I have met women, older women, because I used to work at a daycare and things like that was run by a much older woman in her 70s. And she's flat out said that the only reason to have sex is to have children. And I have met a lot of women of various faiths and backgrounds that are of that same mindset, that it is an awful thing to do. It is not pleasant. And it is solely for procreation. And that is the only time they engage in that act with their husband. And I'm like, as a woman who's been married for 13 years, I'm so sorry for you guys that you feel that way. Because that sucks for you.
Yeah.
And that sucked for Lane.
Yeah. It makes me so mad that like, because it's with Lane, we also hear from Mrs. Kim, and like in general, like they kind of talk about it in a very bad light, and then to make Rory a cheater multiple times, like,
well, and there's such a weird contrast because you have Mrs. Kim who's like, oh, it's awful, and you only have to do it the once, it's okay, and then Lane having such a bad experience. Meanwhile, Lorelai is having it left and right.
Yeah.
With every man. We get the whole story.
It's true.
Preview. She ended up pregnant at 16 because she likes it so much. And then you have Rory, whose first time is with a married man. And then she's continuing that habit and that behavior until the year in the life when she ends up with a Wookiee and doesn't know who the father of her baby is, which we all know by now. It is 2026. It has officially been confirmed. We know who the father of the baby is.
Yes.
Like, we never doubted, but it has been officially confirmed.
Yeah.
But it's like it's such a weird contrast. Like, and in the time period, you almost have to wonder what the reasoning was. Because you have these well-off, affluent white women having the time of their lives with minimal consequences for their sexual behavior. And then you have these Asian women who culturally have been restricted and have horrible experiences. And it's almost like they were punishing Lane. They're like, that's what you get for defying your mother and being a rock star.
Yeah.
Now you're pregnant.
With twins. Your life is over forever.
20 years old.
Yeah. Not cool, writers.
I mean, I know that it was like the early 2000s, but it definitely makes you really wonder, like, for a show that sometimes felt like it was pushing the envelope and trying to kind of maybe break molds and glass ceilings, they dropped the ball in so many ways.
It's true. I agree. They did. Yeah. Oh.
Because it was a woman-centered TV show.
Yeah.
Which is a really wonderful thing. They could have done so much better.
They could have. I wish they would have.
I do too. Especially because even today, the show is so incredibly influential. Like, I happened across a Facebook group where somebody posted there like, look, I don't know what's going on with this group, but some of y'all need to calm down because we watch the show because we love it and it influenced us. But some of you are getting mad because people are critiquing it and you're saying, then don't watch the show. And so we have fully grown adults like us and children coming up watching it with their parents. And like, it's this powerful show that 25 years later is still affecting people.
Yeah. We're making this podcast 25 years later.
And to realize as a, matured adult, just how poorly it was done sometimes is a little sad.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and like going back to Zack.
I mean, if we have to.
I mean, this episode is about him. But like also like going back to like just relationships in general, because like Zack finally goes to Mrs. Kim after they are already engaged and tells Mrs. Kim that he wants to marry her daughter. That just, as I was about to say, I'm like, oh, the Kirk film.
Don't worry, Kirk will come up eventually.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway,
and she's like, you can only marry her if you write like a top, like a a banger of a song, you know?
Yeah.
And then they work on it together and they finally get this really good song. And then literally nothing happens with that song.
All that effort. Meanwhile, Dave Rogalski reads the entire Bible to understand a quote that was actually from Shakespeare.
Right?
Like, Mrs. Kim.
I
wish she would have made some sort of comment, like offhanded, because she had a sense of humor.
She did.
She was witty. She could have been like, Dave could read the whole Bible. If you can't write a hit song, what good are you?
Right?
Like, come on, Mrs. Kim.
There was a missed opportunity there.
Dave, why'd you have to go and do a different show?
Seriously.
I truly think if the actor that played Dave Rogalski did not go on to a different show, that him and Lane would have stayed together and it would have been a really wonderful, beautiful ending and nobody would be talking about Rory anymore because we love Lane.
It's true.
That's why.
It's true. Also, if she would have ended up with Dave Rogalski, that would have overshadowed all of the Gilmore Girls because their relationship was so good.
A man willing to read the entire Bible to understand something that the mother of his girlfriend said, just to take her to the prom?
Or also, let's not forget, at the dance-a-thon, he shows up
and eats those awful egg salad
sandwiches.
Yes.
And he's like, these are so good. Can I go get my pants? Which really he's just trying to figure out when Lane's going to be alone. But still, the fact that he knows how to talk to Mrs. Kim, where Zack never does. Zack is terrified of Mrs. Kim. Even after they're married. He should be, because he's the worst. But like the dynamic between Zack and Mrs. Kim and Dave and Mrs. Kim, night and day difference.
Well, and I think it's because Zack doesn't understand respect. Because the more we talk about Mrs. Kim and how she was and how she took care of Lane and all of her choices, I think we reach a point as Lane becomes an adult and moves out and does her own thing, that all Mrs. Kim really wants is for her daughter to be respected and treated the right way. And Dave demonstrated that so early on that I think that also fueled Mrs. Kim's high expectations for Lane.
Yes.
Because Dave was enough. Dave would sing hymns that were approved by her, and he would have been able to convince her to let Lane be a part of the band, and the tour to the church things, buildings wouldn't have bothered him at all.
Yeah.
Because he understood that Mrs. Kim's strictness and kind of rigidity was about respect.
Yes.
And Zack didn't respect Lorelai, didn't respect his bandmates, didn't respect the women he was sleeping around with. He didn't respect anybody.
Yeah.
And Mrs. Kim saw that right away. I think that's why she's like, look, you want this, then you have to do all this. Like, I think Mrs. Kim was always testing him. Show me you can respect me and my daughter and her dream.
Yeah.
Because she started to support Lane's dream.
Yeah.
And she was going to help Lane get there. And Brian was going to be respectful and support it. Gil was going to be respectful and support it. Zack didn't care unless it benefited him.
Yeah. Well, and really all of the success that they have as a band comes from Mrs. Kim. Like all of it.
Yep.
So, I mean.
And does he ever act appreciative?
No.
I feel like he just always complains about Lane's mom and Lane.
Yeah.
And Brian and Gil. He just complains. He's a complainer.
He is. He is very much a complainer. And it's just, Zack. It's a shame because like their band could have been so cool. Because like Gil and Brian and Lane, I mean.
Did we really need Zack?
No.
I just don't understand the point of it. Like, I get if there was like to create that like contention that would cause the band to break up and do all that. But why did he have to go after Lane? Why did they need to be a thing?
Yeah.
Because I'm still stuck on she wasn't attracted to him until someone said something, and he wasn't attracted to her until she said something.
Yeah.
That's not how that works.
Yeah. Not in a lasting way.
And not on the Gilmore Girls show. In what universe do we ever see somebody suddenly being like, oh, you like me, I like you?
Yeah.
Like the Tristan-Rory dynamic and the Paris and Tristan dynamic is a clear example of just because someone says they like you doesn't automatically make them like you back.
It's true. It's very true.
They were lazy with Lane.
Well, it was like getting towards, because I was towards the end of the show, because like it was season 6, because Lorelai gets way drunk at their wedding and gives a whole speech about how she's not getting married. And then she cries and Christopher takes her home.
And bless the whole town for covering her.
Yes. Yes.
We all need a town like Stars Hollow.
Which, I mean, that whole situation, like.
Anyway, we've already dealt with that.
Yes.
This is about Lane and Zack.
It's true.
Mostly
but like,
Zack.
Mostly Zack. But like, okay, let's talk about their wedding too, right? Because they have the 2 ceremonies, right? And like, Zack can't shut up about the kimono that he's wearing. Never mind, he just married the girl he's supposed to be madly in love with. All he can talk about is how comfortable that kimono is. Kind of like TJ and the tights.
Okay, but with TJ, it makes sense. That's the personality he's established the whole time.
Yes.
Annoying, yes, but like...
And he's talking about how much he loves her as much as he loves the tights.
Exactly.
Or pants.
But, and the thing too is like how culturally oblivious and insensitive Zack was too for that.
Yeah.
Like, just shush your mouth.
Uh-huh.
I love when the little Asian boy like yells at him at the dinner table. Just eat your food. Like, yes.
You can't leave.
You can't leave. But I gotta go to the bathroom. Hold it.
We're not done yet. Oh my god.
Like when even like a 9-year-old can read him to filth. Like Mrs. Kim should have stamped that out so fast.
Mrs. Kim should have encouraged Brian more.
I agree, because she liked Brian.
Yeah, because he was respectful and he understood her culture and he wanted to understand her culture and he wanted to be a part of her life.
He researched before that Thanksgiving dinner or whatever dinner it was.
Yeah.
And he was having conversations. He was welcome at that table with them.
Yes.
You know, I just...
They loved him.
Justice for Brian. And
we
Lane.
loved him.
We did.
He would have been so great for Lane.
He would have. Because he went and got a job when they were all living together and he respected the budget needs. And, you know, he was respectful of her family and her. And he immediately noticed when she wasn't wearing her glasses and complimented her on it.
Yeah.
Like everything he did was, I guarantee you, when they first moved in together as the three of them and how they were like, oh, we left a shelf for you. That was always Brian's idea. Oh, yeah. Zack was never the one who did that. That was Brian.
That was Brian.
Anything nice that was done for Lane was Brian.
Yeah.
This went from being a Zack hate episode to a Brian love episode.
I mean, fair. It should be.
Yes. Oh, we are only 30 minutes into this episode, and I don't know how much else we have to say about Zack.
Yeah.
It might just be a short episode.
This might be. I mean, it's Zack. He deserves a short episode.
I think we put him in his own episode because I felt like we were going to have a lot to say about him. But like now that you think about it, you really sum up everything about him very quickly.
Yeah. But I think because we did Lane in a whole episode on her own.
And we did a whole lot about like Dave and Brian and Henry. Because
we did talk about all of those guys too.
Yeah.
And really it's because the dislike and the hate we have for Zack is so great. We thought we'd have more to complain about.
I think we were also going to touch on like the pregnancy and the, you know, because it also just felt like throughout her whole pregnancy, he just complained.
Yeah.
And he was never really there to support her. And I just don't understand. Look, I get it. Having a kid with someone or 2 kids with someone and then being like, no, I need to be a single mom is a very challenging decision, can be really hard. But she had her mom to help her.
Yeah.
She could have made it work. Heck, Brian probably would have helped her.
Yeah.
I just am baffled that she chose to stay with Zack when their whole relationship from friendship to dating to marriage to pregnancy was him never once growing up enough and being mature enough to be the man that Lane needed.
Yeah. And I kind of hated that they were still together in the year in the life. And like, I mean, at least Zack had a job by then.
Yeah, but how long did it take him to get that job? And from the way he comes off, I really wonder how long he can hold down a real job.
Yeah. Well, because he was a manager at like,
I don't know.
It wasn't.
I want to say like Movie Hut for some reason. The manager of Movie Hut.
Like, which, I mean, that would be a good job. That would be a good job.
It's a salary
job, like,
usually.
I feel like it wasn't a job that he had to like really put effort into other than showing up and like clocking in and out.
And that's so dumb. Because if he's not even willing to put in the effort to take care of his family, like, he never wants to put in the effort. And I hate people who won't put in the effort.
Yeah.
Because everyone's like, oh, the road goes both ways. And I'm like, look, I don't need the road to go both ways. I need it to go halfway and I need yours to come half.
Yeah.
Meet me halfway.
Yeah.
I am more than happy to reciprocate as long as it is going both ways, you know, and there are moments where it's like, especially like in my marriage, sometimes I have to put forth more because my husband's in a place where like he cannot put forth as much. And then vice versa. Like there are some times where our roads need to kind of stretch and shrink to fit each other's needs. And Zack was always like, I'm going to stand on the corner and make you come to me all the time.
Yeah. Bring me some free fries while you're at it.
Bare minimum.
Yeah.
So I hate him so much.
Which in the year in the life, does Lane work in The Year in the Life? I honestly don't remember because we only see her like twice.
Look, The Year in the Life, I had made notes when it first came out because I've been wanting to do a Gilmore Girls podcast since before when Year in the Life came out or right before.
Okay.
Like I've been wanting to do a podcast like this forever.
Mhm.
So I took notes. I don't have that notebook anymore because that was what?
10 years ago.
10 years ago.
Mhm.
But I had taken notes and I remember making a note of every single quote cameo that came in.
Yeah.
The fact that Jared Padalecki shows up just long enough to hold up a box of cornstarch and then we don't see him again.
Yeah.
Whether or not Melissa McCarthy was going to be there was a big one for me. And I just remember like Lane being such a blip.
Yeah.
Like we got more of Harris.
Yeah, we did.
Than we did Lane, which still goes to show how terrible of a friend Rory is.
Yeah.
That even in 10 years later, she has a stronger friendship with a girl she was never really friends with versus her best friend since kindergarten.
Yeah. Yeah. Her mom has a better friendship with Lane than she does.
That's weird.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rory's horrible too. Who else can we hate on this episode?
This is just an episode of people that we can't say.
Christopher, Digger, Dean.
Oh, Dean.
And Zack is one of the worst.
That's because they just wrote him so terribly.
I mean, if we had to rank all of the ones we've hated and discussed so far, like I think we all agree Dean is at the very top.
Yeah.
2 is probably Christopher.
Yeah.
And I feel like Zack comes in at a very close 3rd.
Yeah.
And then everybody else just kind of trickles in.
Yeah.
I didn't realize how much I hated Zack until this episode.
I mean, he just, his character has no redeeming qualities.
Well, and I think I hate him more because, like, for Lane's sake.
Yeah.
I hate him more because of what it did to Lane.
Yeah.
Because, like, Dean, I can hate him on his own. He stands on that hate all on his own. Same with Christopher. Like, they messed things up themselves. But, like, Zack didn't just mess things up for himself. He messed things up for Lane.
Like, really, really badly.
Just ruined that poor girl.
Yeah.
Brian wouldn't have gotten her pregnant on the beach in Mexico.
Brian would have been respectful.
Brian also would have had a much better honeymoon planned than an accident. This is like before there were Airbnbs and stuff. So how does he end up booking a hotel, but it's some guy's house?
Unless he was like on Facebook Marketplace.
Was that even like a thing in 2000?
Was it a thing? No, it would have still been MySpace.
Well, no, Facebook had been a couple years where you were still like, that was early Facebook where you still had to be like, I go to this college to get a Facebook account. So yeah, like it was like he saw a flyer or something or an ad.
Yeah.
And it turned out to be a room in some guy's house. Like I would have divorced him right there.
It was some guy's room in his apartment. It wasn't even a house.
Like I don't know all the rules around it anymore, but I know there used to be a thing where like if you got married but you hadn't consummated the marriage, then it wasn't a divorce, it was an annulment. I would have been like, nope, annulled, done. Nope. Yeah. She could have saved herself so much, but she was trapped in Mexico with this man.
And she thought she loved him.
I still don't understand how she thought that.
Yeah. Especially if you've like had the appreciation of Dave Rogalski. How could you fall so low?
Any guy in her life.
Yeah.
Dave, even Henry to a point. And right, like she even has good examples. Or not even like terrible examples, but like seeing how Luke treats Lorelai, how Jackson treats Suki, how the guys in Rory's life treated her. Like, girl, you knew what the standard was.
Yeah.
How did you miss it so much?
And I mean, at the bridal shower, or no, the bachelorette party. The bachelorette party should have been the biggest of red flags. And like she should have walked away right then. Especially because they end up at Brian's aunt's house.
In their basement, yeah.
Like Brian had to save the day on that. For both of them.
Yeah, I'm so baffled. I'm baffled. It's almost like we've all known people who like fresh out of high school like freak out and they're like, I just have to get married. Like this will solve all my problems. And they jump into a marriage real fast.
Yeah.
And then you just see how that doesn't usually work out very well. And I feel like that was this moment. Like for some reason, Lane freaked out and was like, I have to be married. This is my stability. Girl, you were the most stable person on your own.
Yeah.
You did that thing. Like, you did the band thing. You moved out of your mother's house. Yeah, you lived in Yale for a little bit, but like, you did the thing.
Yeah.
You took care of yourself. You got a job. You were incredibly responsible. Why on earth would you settle at your age for Zack?
Ugh, of all people.
She didn't need that though either. That's what I don't understand. She has all these examples. Sure, the whole Rory Dean thing was awful. And yeah, her and Jess weren't great, but like, there was still plenty of really good examples of good men and how women should be treated. And also, I am a firm believer that despite her rock star persona, Lane absolutely read romance novels.
Oh, 100%.
And you're telling me all of that and she settled for Zack.
Especially because like we see her like get so excited when Lorelai gets engaged.
Right.
And like she loves love. She loves love and she loves like seeing the people that she knows and cares about like fall in love and find their person that's truly their person. And then she settles for Zack.
And she settles for Zack after the way Dave treated her.
Yeah.
I really feel like the writers just up and decided, we hate Lane, set her on fire.
Yeah. I don't know. Writers, answer for your crimes.
For sure. I'm like so emotional about it now. Like, it makes me a little sick. That could just be heartburn though. The whole thing makes me sick the more I think about it, because it doesn't make sense either.
Yeah.
Like, Rory sleeping with Dean was awful. Horrible episode, especially like we've talked about, where it was like also the Luke Lorelai moment.
Yeah.
But it wasn't like, it made sense. Rory and Dean, whatever. It was awful, but of course it happened. But Lane?
Yeah.
The girl who fought tooth and nail for the right romance, for the right guy, who didn't want to be schlepped off to her fourth cousin twice removed.
Which, I mean, let's be real, Mrs. Kim would have picked better for her than she did for herself.
Oh, yeah. And I just, when you have a man who's willing to eat really stale egg salad and who's willing to play hymns and read the Bible and do whatever Miss Kim asks of him.
Yeah.
And you're going to settle for Zack.
And who comes to church and sits on your pew and you settle for Zack.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Of all of the weird things that Gilmore Girls did with their plotline, Zack was the worst.
Yeah.
I dislike that whole plotline more than the Wookiee, more than Rory and Logan having an affair.
More than April Nardini coming in.
Yes. I dislike Zack more than April Nardini coming in.
Because it really felt like the writers just stopped caring about anyone outside the Gilmores. And it was like they built this whole character up. And then they were like, we don't want to try with you anymore. We're tired of you. Marry this guy, get pregnant, be done with the band stuff, go away.
Do you think this is me having a thought?
I love that you are articulating that for our viewers, our listeners, our viewers.
You can't see us.
I'm the viewer.
You are the viewer.
Or as my daughter would call them, our fans.
Yes, all of our fans. Do you think that maybe, because like obviously the writer room, like because there was a separation of Amy Sherman Palladino at the end of season 6, I almost wonder if some of this is them not being happy with the way things were going with the CW or Warner Brothers at the time, whatever. And like, so this was their way to like make their voice heard and like kind of, because let's be real, season 6 is where like all the crap hits the fan and then we get the trash panda of season 7.
See, and I have to wonder, because I know I saw something like a month or so ago where Amy like comes out and kind of talks about what happened to a point. I don't remember what she said, but I mean, you saying that makes my brain go, I feel like I've heard this before.
Yeah.
Where it was like they were mad of whatever was happening.
Yeah.
And so they're like, fine, let's just trash it.
Yeah. Because like the end of season 6 made me so angry. I almost didn't want to watch season 7. Yeah. But then I was like, season 7's going to make it better. Because when I watched it, I didn't realize that it was different writers.
I didn't either.
And there's a whole different feel to season 7 than the previous 6 seasons of the show.
See, and I guess I'm just not intuitive enough, because I just don't get that. I chalk it up to they're in a new season of their life. And that's why things are different. I don't know.
I feel like the whole dialogue is even different.
I don't remember. Girl, it's been like 2 years since we did our rewatch.
I rewatched it at Christmas, most of it. I got into season 6, and then I was like, I just can't with this show anymore.
I haven't rewatched it mostly because it feels like a lot of effort right now, but also somebody got me into hockey romance books, and that kind of consumes a lot of my time now.
I have no idea who that would be.
I don't either.
Yes, I'm writing a hockey rom-com.
Anyway,
it's hopefully coming out this year.
I mean, I could see that because I also feel like she still carried that sentiment into season 7 or into Year in the Life.
Yeah.
Because she basically wrote Year in the Life to be what she wanted season 7 to be.
Okay, yeah.
Because she wanted the series to end with Rory being pregnant. I mean, she's been very vocal about that. And I feel like she's also been very vocal. And I'm not 100% sure on this because I don't know how much is her actually saying that or people kind of doing what we do and speculating. And but I feel like she came back for Year in the Life to write what she had wanted season 7 to be.
Yeah.
What she had planned to write it to be. Which I'm going to be completely honest with you. And this is no shade to Amy Sherman-Palladino. I mean, we love her shows. And she's obviously very talented. But considering that that's how she wanted the show to end, it really makes me just like question, like it just comes off really, I don't know. I can't think of the word right now. I just, even if she had wanted to end, like if she had stayed on for season 7 and that's how she wanted the show to go, like it feels like she was like purposefully setting the show on fire. And I don't understand why you would want to do that to your show. Like you can, plenty of shows wrap their whole series with a nice little bow without like setting it on fire. And it felt like she had begun to hate the show anyway.
Yeah.
And just wanted it to end. And so season 6 was just the ignition point.
Yeah.
And coming back for Year in the Life was her finally getting to like light it on fire.
Yeah.
But she also had said, my understanding is that if the show had ended after one season, she would have had Rory pregnant at the end of it.
Oh gosh.
Because she always wanted it to end with Rory pregnant. Which I also don't understand.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, so Amy, if you'd like to come and chat with us.
We would love to chat with you. We will be
We're very nice people. Yeah. I mean, you heard the Jess and Logan episodes. We were so polite.
So polite.
That's not even sarcasm. Like we were way too nice compared to all our other episodes.
Well, and especially like when we were planning out this whole podcast, the reason we did those 3 episodes is because historically we have been so opposed to each other on Jess and Logan that we knew we needed a 3rd episode to like full on fight it out. And then when we came to record it, we both had changed so much in our opinions.
That's so true. Because by that point we had both rewatched it, and then we had kind of chatted off podcast about different things and come to different conclusions. Yeah. And it's funny. But still, I mean, I don't know. I think it would be interesting. I don't really care about the perspective on Rory or Lorelai from like the writers, but I would love to know about these other characters that we talk about. Like, I would love to know the thought process behind what happened to Lane.
Yeah.
And it just, because something else I kind of noticed as we were talking about this is like, as Lane went downhill, Kirk got a whole lot more interesting.
Yeah. Maybe
we poured all our focus into Kirk and we're like, bye, Lane.
Maybe you could only have one side character of interest. So it either had to be Lane or Kirk.
Okay, but other side note, because I don't remember like the full timeline, but Sean Gunn and, you know, his director brother and stuff, maybe that was a time when they were starting like kind of rising star. And so maybe they wanted to give him more attention.
Maybe.
I don't know. Like we have so many conspiracy theories. We need Amy Sherman-Palladino here.
It's true.
Help us.
Help us.
Internet. I love how we don't even know who the showrunner was for season 7.
Yeah. It's because it doesn't even matter.
I don't know if I used that word correctly.
Yeah, it was showrunner. And also like the head writer. Like we don't like
it's always Dan and Amy.
Well, it's because they were like it was their show. It was their show, and which is why I'm like, I wonder if things like were already getting heated with like with like the
studio,
network
or the network, yeah.
And so they were just like, you know what, fine, we're gonna tank the show with season 6, because especially like the second half of season 6.
Except they didn't manage to tank it because the one thing that was keeping us all alive is Luke and Lorelai. We needed a conclusion.
Okay, yes, but like the end of season 6,
girl, it all runs together to me.
So the last episode of season 6 is where Lorelai goes to dinner.
Yeah.
And Christopher's there, and they're trying to set Christopher up with the shrink. And then after dinner, she and Lorelai end up having a session in her car. Right. And because she's talking about how she loves Luke and everything, and she's like, I don't want to let him go, and the shrink is like, well, it doesn't really seem like you have him now.
Mm-hmm.
And then, that puts in her mind that obviously she needs to go and give Luke an ultimatum,
yeah.
Which of all the people in Stars
But
Hollow,
also more than 6 years, the ultimatum was messy.
Right. And it's like, but like the whole, because we get April Nardini the most in season 6.
Mm-hmm.
And we have her and Luke and their relationship, which, here's the thing, and we're going to have a whole episode on April Nardini. Like, I have a lot of feelings about her. I don't hate that she exists, mostly, partially.
We'll talk about it.
But like, I hate that they really did use April Nardini to solidify that wedge between Luke and Lorelai.
But on that note, maybe it's because Amy thought they wouldn't possibly continue the show without them.
Yeah.
Especially if they ruined that relationship. But here's the thing. The fans are hardcore Luke and Lorelai.
Yeah.
And you end us on essentially what we consider a cliffhanger. Oh, they broke up.
Mm-hmm.
But they've had this will they won't they for 6 seasons.
Yeah.
So if there's a season 7, maybe. And then we still didn't get a Luke and Lorelai wedding at the end of season 7.
It's true. We
didn't even get it in a year in the life.
I mean, we did. Ish.
Not what it should have been.
No, because they should have gotten married before Year in the Life.
Absolutely. They should have had a baby. Her dream should have come true.
Yeah. Saying. So many feelings about it.
So many feelings, but this is about Zack just gave so many feelings.
But it's like, the whole Zack is in season 6. Like the main time of him is in 6. And so it's like, were they purposely trying to tank the show?
Maybe.
And so they brought Zack in more instead of choosing Brian, which was a much better option.
And see, I can kind of understand it though, because like that was kind of their baby. That show was a big project for them. That was their baby. And to be, I mean, I don't know all the details, but I feel like I remember hearing that like they weren't being respected the way they felt they should be.
Yeah.
And there was just a lot of bad blood going on. I could see tanking your baby so that nobody else would pick it up.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're like, as writers and screenwriters and authors, we're very protective of our work.
Yeah, especially our babies.
I mean, even look at like how Brandon Sanderson is taking over Robert Jordan's series because he is no longer with us. And he is being so very respectful and careful and trying to make sure that he is doing the series justice for the sake of Robert Jordan. And, if I could see Amy being like, no, this is what I made. Uh-huh. I'm not going to let you mess it up.
Yeah.
So I'm going to mess it up.
Yeah.
But you know how networks are. If something's doing well, they'll do whatever they have to get what they want, except, treat their writers and showrunners with respect and pay them well.
And also respect their audience.
That too.
Yeah.
That too. Well, hey, we dragged the episode out to almost an hour. Yay! See what happens when I edit it down.
Better than only having 30 minutes to work with.
That's true. And to be completely honest, because we always try to bring it back to the topic because we tangent much like a Gilmore Girl would.
True.
You're right, though, that the Zack drama did happen in season 6, and it was a natural way to talk about all of the season 6 stuff.
Yeah.
It's just Zack was the inciting incident to lead to that conversation.
Yeah.
Zack sucks. Justice for Lane. Mm-hmm. That's all I have to say on that.
Lane and Brian forever.
No. Lane and Dave.
That's true.
Forever.
And ever.
And Brian can be the fun uncle, the funkle.
He can be. He would have been a great one.
He would have. He was, I'm sure, to the twins.
Sure. We just don't ever see it.
Well, no, because nobody cares about Lane and her babies and her horrible husband and her band.
And let's be real, if we would have seen her and Brian and her babies, we all would have known.
Oh, yeah. Brian was going to be the nanny. 100% he's the nanny.
Yes. Oh, my God.
He would have loved it.
He would have been so good.
And then Zack would have gotten jealous and thrown a fit at Lane and broken up the band and broken up his family. And Lane would have been like, you know what? No, I'm done with you. Bye.
Yeah.
That's what should have happened in Year in the Life.
And she would have run away with the nanny.
Or she would have tracked down Dave Rogalski.
It's true.
And he would have been more than happy to be like, I got you, girl. Mm-hmm. No, I'm sure Dave moved on to bigger and better things.
It's true. He moved to California.
Sure. Let's go with that.
Okay. But we always try and end with a positive note.
There is nothing positive about Zack. I'm putting my foot down on that one. If you have something positive, by all means.
I can't think of anything.
All right, then.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us for this really riveting episode about Zack.
It was another hate episode. Look at us. We like go 6 episodes and having a hate episode.
You got it.
Something like that.
You got to throw them in every once in a while, especially when they're justified.
Yes. All right. Well, that's it for this very exhausting Gilmore. We will chat with everybody next.
Yep. We'll see you in a couple weeks.
Bye.
Bye. The Gilmore Gab is created and produced by Rachel Llewellyn and Susie Carmichael. Music by Kevin MacLeod. Follow us on Instagram at Gilmore Gab Podcast and sign up for our newsletter on Substack. You can also subscribe to our paid Substack for early access to new episodes and exclusive content. The Gilmore Girls show and characters are the exclusive property of Warner Brothers Entertainment. Warner Brothers Entertainment is not affiliated with, nor does it endorse the Gilmore Gab Podcast.